back YouTubers to my channel of an everyday life of an Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I'm Aspie and I'm all about creating mental health and awareness versus sharing my life story with Asperger's syndrome, OCD and the like, taking you on a journey to get to know me as a person behind the mask of every other diagnosis that comes into these comorbid symptoms and diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome. I also do some mental health and awareness series basically just to give you guys the lowdown of some tips and advice versus basically also based on my training and experience right now, also with some motivational kind of messages, hopefully to spread some messages of hope, motivation and dedication to you, to hopefully give you guys a lowdown to know that you're not alone regardless what it may be that you guys are facing in your time of need. So without further ado guys, basically if you're following me right now, I'm doing the ADHD and series and some dyslexia series versus maybe a little bit more on the Asperger's syndrome series, but then again, like I said before, bear in mind with what I'm sharing with you all right now about the Asperger's series, because some of this will take into effect more in a later date, because obviously as you know, some of this videos that I'm hoping to address will probably vary more into other topics. But without further ado, these are all about the ADHD series I'm trying to finish, as well as the dyslexia. So the ones I've been hoping to do right now is just hopefully is how to get to sleep when you have ADHD. Excuse me, no, I'm yawning about it. Okay, the question is basically, you're not, or shall we say the answer to it is that you're not alone, as many adults and children alike that has ADHD do have troubles falling asleep at night, or may even have troubles getting up in the mornings regardless, and getting into structured routine regardless what it may be, and maybe getting themselves just motivated to get up and go and get ready for school or work or whatever it may be, or just enough energy to do the task that is set at hand for them basically throughout their day regardless what it is. With that in mind though, however, when it comes down to the adults, however, the number does tend to jump up to about 70-80% of adults having that very same problem with ADHD, however, and this may be because of, despite their high functioning activity and being night owls or working well right through the night, because most ADHDers that I know of work really well at night, you know, when it comes down to their certain tasks of what they need to do, if they've self-absorbed into one of their activities or just self-absorbed into something in their everyday work lifestyle of what they're doing from work, they'll work right through the night not realizing it. Sometimes also it's harder for them to try and get into a regular and same pattern at night or routine at night so that they can press out to sleep after the alarms are set. This is pretty much really common though, however, in both adults and children alike today. Okay, back in the 1980s, research was done and basically problems with sleep was a diagnostic area for people that were in that category of ADHDers. And that was then dropped, and it's a mystery to clinical experts to why and what can be done about this basically in that time frame of their that research and study that they were doing in the 80s. But until recently, or until today, however, there has been a little bit more research has been done, as well as some studies has been made to what's going on and how to fix or solve the problem. But you've got to remember, as I keep saying, many people make the mistake that, you know, they want a magic cure, they want a magic fix, just like that, you know, with the snap of the fingers. But then again, you know, as not always the case, it's all about managing and treating our everyday, you know, diagnoses, be it, you know, Asperger's syndrome in my case, or depression and the like sort of thing. It's just about how we go about it in our everyday life, as well as the, you know, right function of the brain, of, you know, how we think, as we say, the powerful toolhouse for many things. Many ADHDers have problems getting to sleep or just getting up late in general, you know, or even just getting up late in general in the morning. However, also they don't have the luxury that they're just plain tired or exhausted. Most ADHD adults that they report that they do get to bed late, get up late, which is known as a sleep cycle pattern that is called the delayed phase syndrome, which many people may have this as well, not just the ADHDers that I'm addressing today. However, most ADHD adults as I said, people with ADHD has troubles with their circadian rhythm, or as it's also known as the right name, internal body clock, if you want the actual name for it from that clinical term, to give you guys an easy understanding here. The internal body clock, however, produces melatonin, basically a chemical that makes us sleepy and tired, supposedly. You know, if it's off, it could be due to the behaviour or the circadian rhythm of us being unbalanced, and that, like I said before, for the sake of ADHD is that pretty much that, you know, all over the place, all over the show, with their brains wired up and raring to go to do something else, regardless what it may be. But however, today here, there are 2 ways to solve this, which is number 1, resetting the body clock, and number 2, basically practice good sleep hygiene to enforce the rhythm you want to have when you go to bed at night, you know, be it, you know, whatever it may be. People with ADHD may need extra help, however, with this of their internal body clocks, as they have trouble distinguishing between the setting and rising of the sun. Okay, so the first part is, as I said before, about the melatonin, a bit more about it. Some people may use this to set the internal body clock, but you got to bear in mind though, seek medical professional help and seek an opinion for this before doing this, because if you were to, you know, consume some of the stuff of that melatonin, that of the stimulant, or just that chemical in that pill basically for too long or at the wrong time of day, it may contribute to depression. Another one for the first part of resetting the internal body clock is number 2, controlling the light exposure may help, basically. Maybe you might want to, during the day if the sun's out, to get your vitamin D and melatonin from the, you know, sun, basically. Or another one is just to help you out. Imagine a clock being wound up at the correct time. Also, as I said before, for that tip of going out in the sun, but however, you may want to sleep on the roof, or you may want to sleep on a hammock, somewhere where the sun will shine on you, preferably. Or if you don't like the idea of sleeping on roofs, or you have fear of sleeping on roofs or whatever, or just even if it's a really hot summer day especially, you can always fake it, you know, as in, you know, as some clocks now have some sensory lights that acts like sunrise, but these type clocks that has been introduced for this is really expensive at the moment, and there's still a bit more research to be done here and there about it, and obviously this will act like sun rays and will help you wake up when you need to in the right time, hopefully. And the last step obviously is number 2, practice that good sleep hygiene for tip number 2. Okay, for this, decide to a good routine, you know, stick to it, be it whatever bed routine it is. You know, you may be going in bed and basically you're maybe reading a book for maybe 10-15 minutes and hopefully you doze off or what have you. Also, decide that bedtime ritual routine that you want to do. Decide of a time phrase of when you want to go to bed. Keep to it every night. It may not happen overnight of the same night that you're going into bed, but it will eventually happen. Also, just to bear in mind, morning and evening routines, basically, if you have any routines put into place, will help you keep active in the body and mind, and will help the body to know when it is time to slow down and actually eventually clock off and sleep. When the mind is racing, however, the mind will keep track, basically, of before and during and after going to bed. As I said before, the mind for ADHD, especially sometimes with ones with probably, as I said, Asperger's syndrome, tends to have that, you know, annoying effect that their all thought patterns are really racing around in their head, regardless what it may be. Another one you could do is stimulants, but bear in mind with some of the stimulants, they may cause different side effects to each other. So just, you know, pays to, again, seek medical professional advice. But what you could do for certain stimulants, if you want to, before hitting the sack, maybe do it like half an hour beforehand though. Another one is leaving electronics out of the bedroom or just turn them off, basically, regardless what electronics they are, be it your TV, be it your VCR, be it your computers and whatever else that you have in your bedroom. You got to remember the bed is for sleeping in and other stuff that you can do, wink wink wink, you know. Try not to use electronic devices maybe at all like 3 hours before bedtime, maybe leading up to that bedtime you've set beside for yourself. because as you know, sometimes with some electronic devices right now, it acts like it has a bill of fills in this mind century of our mind, basically, of the brain somewhere. I can't remember where as such, but somewhere in there it triggers off to our brain thinking that it's daylight when it's not exactly daylight. It will confuse the brain chemical messages to the brain that you need to get up when we're supposed to be still asleep. Maybe another one is keeping the room dark. Another one is some ADHDs and some other people I know of basically might want background white noise, and many more, even though there are many more tips I think from memory of this in the ADHD and children asleep versus basically also ADHD sleep in adults. If not, comment below. But hey, once we get into the right time and body rhythm, however, we should be able to get up in the morning on time, always on time, as well as getting to bed at night and on time and in the right time frame. It's just a matter of practice, time and effort, obviously, like anything. So basically, this ends a real quick, short, brief video of how to get to sleep when you have ADHD. Give me the like for thumbs up for support. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AspieAnswersAll. Comment below if there's any other tips that may be of use to others around you. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Feel free to share these videos around to family and friends. Do what you love what you do. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next.